this question is asking us to identify a key feature of a rational function. It says, what are the vertical asymptotes of the function f of x is equal to x plus 2 divided by x squared minus x minus 6. Vertical asymptotes and other key features are determined by where they're located within the rational function, and particularly vertical asymptotes occur at x values that make our denominator equal to 0. However, we need to make sure that nothing cancels before taking a look for those vertical asymptotes. So anytime you're dealing with a rational function, it's a good idea to factor the numerator and the denominator. If we look at this, the numerator can't be factored any further. The denominator is a quadratic function, which we need to look to factor. And there's lots of ways that this can be done and shown. But any way you do it, you're just looking to determine two values that will multiply to get the product of the first coefficient and the last term. So 1 times -6. So what are two numbers that multiply to get -6? And then those two same numbers have to add to get your middle coefficient. And in this case, the middle coefficient is -1. All right, and I just use this x to help us organize. So we need two values that multiply to get -6 and add to get -1. And we can see that -3 and +2, when we multiply them, we get a -6. When we add -3 plus 2, we get a -1. So when the leading coefficient's 1, we can just use those two factors immediately. So it's x minus 3 times x plus 2. And now that we have the denominator factored, we can see that an x plus 2 cancels out of both the numerator and the denominator, which leaves us with a reduced function that looks like this. F of x is equal to, we now have 1 in the numerator and just x minus 3 in the denominator. Okay, this piece that cancels out is a removable discontinuity, sometimes called a hole. That is something different, but if it's a hole and nothing else. It won't be a hole and a vertical asymptote. So now we get to this reduced function, and again, a vertical asymptote occurs at x values that make the denominator equal to 0. So the only value we can put in for x here to make the denominator 0 would be 3. So x equals 3 is the vertical asymptote of this function, and if we look at our choices, we can find that in selection B.